Tonight on WTOP-10 Nightly News, a major anti-Trump protest in Oswego, what their main message was.
And funding threats to critical Oswego preservation and fishing, how residents are responding.
Plus, a ceremony to honor 6 heroes whose actions have saved hundreds.
WTOP-10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Nasir Meikle.
And I'm Madeline Cummings.
Protesters gathered on Bridge Street for the 8th weekend in a row yesterday. People nationwide have joined together in protest against the Trump administration, including many Oswego residents. Bridge Street has become an active protest spot for the last several weeks. That is where indivisible Oswego County has been hosting weekly rallies.
Each week's rally is centered around a different theme. This week's theme was healthcare. The rally was in protest to the many cuts that medical research and federal health grants are facing. Even though the theme was healthcare, protesters held up signs also talking about immigration, DOGE cuts, and LGBTQ rights. Cars passing by honked their horns in support. Indivisible Oswego County plans on continuing these rallies.
Now moving to Syracuse, over 400 people gathered at Syracuse University to attend a hands-off protest against the Trump administration's defunding of education and targeting of international students. Without warning, 3 SU students had their visas revoked. They're among the hundreds of international students nationwide whose legal status has been terminated by the federal government. The SU Latinx organization has launched a petition to ensure the protection of all international students.
Local union leaders held a protest outside of U.S. Representative Claudia Tenney's Oswego office regarding her support of Medicare and Medicaid cuts. The 6 leaders, which included the president of the CNY Area Labor Federation, questioned Tenney's support for a new budget bill and urged her to put working people ahead of billionaires. With over 33% of residents on Medicaid, many Oswego residents are directly affected by the issue.
Lake Ontario National Marine Sanctuary was designated to protect the environment in 2024.
The sanctuary puts a special focus on interactions between human activity and the maritime environment. WTOP-10 reporter Eliza Hopkins has the story.
Thanks, guys. The Lake Ontario National Marine Sanctuary hosted its first virtual advisory council meeting on Tuesday, where they discussed a number of concerns from Oswego locals. The sanctuary was founded in 2024 in efforts to maintain the lake's historical and archaeological integrity. With recent cuts to federal funding, it's been quite an unpredictable time for the sanctuary. Representatives from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration addressed these concerns, saying that they are fearful for the future but still believe in the sanctuary's future.
That have been around for a number of years have planned for the future as best they can, but at some point it is going to catch up. And we're just, again, we're just going to have to do what we can, and also lean on partners, other folks, other federal agencies, state agencies in the region, picking up the slack where possible.
The meeting was open to the public for questions and comments, and it allowed community members to get to know those behind the organization. The board also went into deeper detail about some of the projects coming this summer. Now, back to the desk.
Thank you, Eliza. A research ship will spend the second half of the year near Oswego to collect information about shipwrecks in Lake Ontario. The Lake Ontario National Marine Sanctuary's remote-controlled project will use an advanced camera to map shipwrecks that are between 250 and 650 feet deep. The Lake Guardian vessel will patrol an area of over 1,700 miles with 41 known shipwrecks and 1 aircraft in the waters.
An expert-led talk about the history of the nature study movement is coming to SUNY Oswego's Rice Creek next weekend. Former Environmental Protection Agency Public Information Officer Paul Knettel will discuss the late 1800s to early 1900s movement that pushed for school children to be taught using the outside environment. Next Saturday's 2 p.m. event is part of the Rice Creek Association's Reflection Series and is free to everyone. Speaking of nature, we've been experiencing a very large range of temperatures and conditions in Oswego recently.
Let's take a look outside to our Storm Team 10 meteorologist Ryan Murphy for more on the current and future weather conditions. Ryan.
And thank you guys. I'm here outside the Murano Campus Center, and I'll tell you, it is a bit chilly outside right now. And it was like that this morning, but it did clear up a bit. The sun did come on out and we had temperatures in the mid-60s. Now it stayed nice and clear into the night. And if you took the opportunity to go down to the lake and check out the sunset, you may have noticed the waves were nice and flat. It was nice and sunny, and the sun was reflecting right off of the lake just like a mirror. Now it is going to stay pretty nice and clear into tomorrow. We're going to have temperatures in the mid-60s. It's going to be overall really nice. But for later in the week, on Tuesday, we are going to have some pretty unusual weather for our area, something that we don't really experience. That's all I have for right now. I'll have more of my Futurecast in just a bit. First, back to you guys at the desk.
Hopefully you stay warm, Ryan. Thank you. Oswego Health recognizes the lives and legacies of 6 local organ, eye, and tissue donors. Last week's flag-raising ceremony brought together the families of 6 donors whose final contributions helped over 450 people live. The event was part of National Donate Life Month and was also a reminder that over 800 people in upstate New York are in need of organ donations.
The Oswego County Legislature has recognized April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month during its monthly meeting. The proclamation was presented to the Oswego County Department of Social Services and community partner representatives who work on the issue. DSS Commissioner Lee Sullivan said that it takes comprehensive cooperation to stop child abuse and neglect and urged those at risk or knowing someone at risk to reach out to the department.
A possible hazing incident involving the West Hill High School boys lacrosse team is being investigated by the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office. The allegations involve players on the team, but no arrests have been made yet, and police declined to provide more details. The team's varsity game against Guilderland High School, on Saturday was canceled.
The Trump administration is suing Rochester, New York over its sanctuary city policies. The administration filed a lawsuit on Thursday in U.S. District Court claiming the city's policies interfere with and discriminate against the federal government's enforcement of federal immigration law. The suit stems from an incident in March when Rochester police responded to a request for backup by Border Patrol agents during a traffic stop.
When WTOP-10 Nightly News continues, detailed insights into immigration policies in the new administration.
All that and more right after this.
Get rid of all the questions.
If only we had someone who could tell us what we should and shouldn't watch.
Well, do we have a show for you?
Who are you?
What are you doing in my bed?
On Be Kind and Rewind, we will go through and review all your favorite movie franchises.
And tell you which ones you should and shouldn't watch from the perspective of normal movie fans. Well, be sure to check out Be Kind and Rewind on WTOP-10.
WTOP-10. I'm meteorologist Ryan Murphy with your local weather forecast. Now we're going to start off with our song of the day, Ain't No Love in Oklahoma by Luke Combs. Now if you're wondering why that's up here, that is because on Tuesday evening we have a threat of a tornado. I know, that's crazy, right? In New York, tornadoes, we don't usually get that. Now I'll explain why we're going to have that, or why we have that threat in just a bit in my Futurecast. Now, taking a look at our live satellite and radar, you can see over our area is pretty clear right now. There's not much rain, not any clouds or anything like that. It's a nice, clear night. Now, tomorrow's going to be nice and warm. We're going to have temperatures in the mid-60s, so hey, it's a great opportunity to throw a little something on the grill. Maybe some burgers, maybe some dogs, whatever you feel. I'd say around 5 p.m. is your best time to do so. The sun will be out. It's going to be nice and clear. The high is 62 degrees, or if you want to go in the evening there, we're going to be about 58 degrees. Now, looking at our Futurecast wind gusts, you can see tomorrow's going to be nice and calm, but Tuesday morning, the winds are going to pick up. We're going to have wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour, and that's going to stay like that throughout the day into the night, and that's where we're going to have a problem with some thunderstorms. I'll get to that in just a second. Now, as for tomorrow, looking at our Futurecast, you can see it's nice and clear, a couple clouds here and there until we get to Tuesday morning. We're going to have a few rain showers come on into our area, and that's going to keep happening throughout the day. Now, Tuesday evening is when we're going to have that chance of a tornado. Now, these thunderstorms down here are going to give us some conditions that will be favorable for tornadoes. And we're also going to have this line of thunderstorms here, and same thing with that. So if you're down in the Syracuse area or even Rochester area, you might want to keep that in mind if you're traveling. Now for our current conditions, 47 degrees out. It's a bit breezy outside, but it is nice and clear. Now as for tonight, temperatures are going to drop down to 38 degrees. Now some clouds are going to roll on in, but those will quickly move on out into tomorrow. We're going to have a nice day with a high of 62 degrees, and it will be nice and sunny. Now taking a look at our extended forecast here, you can see for the rest of the week it is going to be pretty nice, except for Wednesday there. Temperatures are going to drop on down to 48 degrees. As for the weekend, it will be nice and warm. That's all I have for my full forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Ryan. On Thursday, the Trump administration said states could lose transportation funding over a failure to cooperate with federal enforcement efforts. WTOP-10 reporter Seth Appleby sat down with Dr. Emily Estrada to find out more about what this could mean.
I'm here with Dr. Emily Estrada, a professor here at SUNY Oswego, whose research revolves around immigration studies. Dr. Estrada, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So just getting right into it, my first question, the Trump administration said recently that they will be cutting transportation funding to states that fail to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement efforts, specifically with some states issuing driver's licenses to those who don't have a legal status. My question to you is the administration legally allowed to withhold this funding to the states that don't comply?
So before I answer the question, I have to give the caveat, I am not a lawyer, I am not a legal scholar, I study immigration, but it's kind of a little bit broader. That being said, we know that the Trump administration is saying that any recipient of federal grant money is obligated to uphold federal policies, federal programs, and that is why they're claiming that they would have potentially the right to withhold transportation money, because the counties and the cities, in accepting that money, are obligated to uphold their priorities, their policies. So that's the Trump administration's stance on this issue. That being said, yesterday, Thursday, April 24th, a federal judge issued an order saying that the Trump administration did not have the right to withhold those monies. On a couple of grounds, they said first, withholding the money would cause irrevocable harm to the people in those cities and in those counties. And then they also said that threatening to withhold the money, or actually withholding the money, would be a federal overreach. And so given the ruling that was issued yesterday, to answer your question very simply, no.
Okay, thank you for your insight. My next question, the economy is always at the top of people's minds these days. What kinds of effects or changes can we see from the tightening of immigration on the economy, for example?
So President Trump has been in office for about 4 months now. It's a little bit early, I think, to get any real economic metrics to kind of think about the causal impact of his immigration policies and the way it's directly impacting the economy. That being said, there are some early signs of what could potentially be coming down the road. Thinking about the role that immigrants have played in our economy, we can think about first, I would say, highly skilled, educated immigrants who come to the United States. They bring their experience, they bring their innovation, and all of that has a significant positive impact on the American economy. We know as of now, in even just a few short months, that applications for student visas, people wanting to come over and study in America, work visas for that highly skilled segment of immigrants, both of those types of visas, applications are on the decline. We've seen a significant decrease in people applying for those visas. And so given that, and then kind of given what the consequence of that will be, we can expect to see some negative economic impact. Right. We should also think about immigrants who come to the United States and fill those lower paying, lower prestige jobs. Many of these immigrants are unauthorized. And we would also anticipate, with a decrease of those immigrants coming into the United States and with the increase of detention and deportation affecting those communities, we would also anticipate some negative economic impact. People working in those positions tend to be very exploitable, they're very vulnerable. Employers just don't have to pay them as much as they have to pay American-born workers. Okay. And those costs then get pushed onto the consumers, right? Yeah. Right. It allows consumers to pay less for their consumer purchases. Right.
When WTOP-10 Nightly News continues, an Oswego concert honoring a musical legend is coming soon.
And a prestigious college is canceling a performance from a famous musician over diverse comments they made. Don't go away.
If you like action, romance,
if you're watching this,
and highbrow humor,
what surface is this?
Floor. Minch did not legitimately put his head in the toilet.
There's only one place to turn.
No!
Tune in to new episodes of
Oh Boy!
Only on WTOP.
Look at the number of disasters in the U.S. Chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
I had to eat a raw egg on Chris's dormitory floor.
I currently don't have any federal pending charges.
You know what you never did? You never walked to Walmart, Chris. That's my co-host. This is for making me eat roast Pop-Tarts. It's showtime, Chris. Come on.
I want to be on the air for that. I got a couple things to say.
No.
Spin the wheel. Oh, you got censorship.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to...
Welcome back to WTOP-10 Nightly News.
A local theater group, the Oswego Players, were honored earlier today with an official city declaration of Oswego Players Day. The decision was an easy one for Mayor Robert Corandino, who praised their 85 years of dedication to the arts and community impact. The ceremony was held at the Francis Marion Brown Theater, where the group has performed since 1962. Founded in 1938, they're one of New York's oldest continuously operating community theaters. Group members expressed gratitude for the recognition and reaffirmed their mission to inspire, entertain, and educate through live theater. The mayor encouraged continued support for the arts and the upcoming theater season. A big win for Central New York American High Shorts, based in Liverpool. It won the 2025 Webby's People's Voice Award for Best Comedy on Social Media. The series received the most votes online, beating out several Comedy Central shows. It marks the first Webby win for American High. American High Shorts is a digital extension of the Liverpool film studio American High. Their studio, located in the former A.V. Zog Middle School, and Liverpool High School, is also known as Syracuse Studios. The building also hosts filmmaking classes for aspiring creators. American High Shorts will be honored May 12th at this year's Webby Awards ceremony.
The final installment of Jazz by the Lake is here. The Oswego Music Hall will end its spring season with a special show honoring the late jazz legend Chet Baker. The performance will feature Jeff Stockman, a talented trumpeter known for his work with big bands and orchestras across the Central New York region. Stockham will lead a quartet through an evening of classical tunes, channeling Baker's signature sound and style. The concert will take place at the McRoby Civic Center this Friday, starting at 7:30 p.m. Organizers say it's the perfect way to wrap up the season with timeless jazz, waterfront views, and a night full of unforgettable music.
Cornell University announced earlier this week that they will be canceling the performance of singer Kalani at their Slope Day event on May 7th. The decision comes after the concerns were raised about the artist's alleged anti-Semitic comments made in videos, performances, and on social media. University President Michael Kotlikoff said Slope Day is meant to unite the campus, not divide it. Kalani responded on Instagram saying the cancellation was about Zionism, not anti-Semitism, and called the backlash a played-out game. Cornell says a new performer will be announced soon.
Coming up in sports, it's Mike Neckers.
Mike, could you give us a quick preview?
Thanks, guys. The spring sports season is winding to a close, and a few teams are looking to make championship runs. Find out who after the break right here on WTOP-10.
What's going on?
Yeah, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
No.
What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Matt, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man. Whoa. You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow. Get a close up of that one.
Broadcast news. Look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
We'll deep dive into our feelings in our Real Talk segment. Stay tuned because it's about to get real.
Tie it.
back in. My name's Mike Neckers, and we've got a lot to cover, so without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off, the Oswego State Bucks boys lacrosse team is still searching for their first victory of the season, with their closest matchup coming down to the wire where they fell short 15-12 against the Corcoran High School. The Bucks, who are currently sitting at 0-7 on the season, are set to play on Tuesday and Thursday of this week against East Syracuse Manoa on Tuesday and traveling to Central Square on Thursday in hopes of finally coming away with a victory. We'll now switch over to college sports, where despite not currently being in season, SUNY Oswego's men's soccer team is still hard at work. This afternoon, they faced off against the Onondaga Community College Lasers in an off-season scrimmage. After a hard-fought 90 minutes, the Lakers came out on top 3-2, with Tajay Ellis and Ian Husselbeck each finding the back of the net. The Lakers graduated 9 seniors at the end of the fall season, including Kyle Genrick and Chris Smith, who led the team with 14 points each this year. And the SUNY Oswego men's golf team hosted their annual Spring Invited Oswego Country Club this weekend, and it was Mike Douglas leading the way for the Lakers. Douglas fired a 77 to the top of the leaderboard thanks to a consistent round with 10 pars and a strong finish. Teammates O'Neill and Lynch followed with solid rounds of 79 and 81, while the rest of the squad showed grit and resilience throughout. The Lakers were back in action today, but official scores are yet to be released. And last but certainly not least is the Oswego State women's tennis team, who traveled to Binghamton for the SUNYAC Championship, and after beating Cortland in the semifinal, came up just short. Despite the loss, Oswego showed fight, including a 3-set battle from Emily DeLuca at number 4 singles. This team finishes a stellar season that included an undefeated start and 3 all-tournament honors for Isabella Eason, Avery Borman, and Leah Bell. And with the Oswego women's tennis team officially finished with their season, let's take a look at another team looking to secure their first SUNYAC championship in over 25 years. Madeline Cummings has the story.
In the midst of a record-breaking season, the Oswego Lakers women's lacrosse team is coming for a championship they haven't won since 1998. The Lakers currently stand undefeated in the SUNYAC Conference with a record of 9-0, finishing with the number 1 seed.
We're entering SUNYACs this week, so obviously the most important week of the season. But yeah, we're 14-2. It's been a great season so far, and the players have worked super hard.
With their first-place seeding, they end a 4-year streak held by the Cortland Red Dragons, who they defeated for the first time in their program's history earlier in the season.
It was exciting, very, I guess, nerve-wracking throughout the whole game, but, the team handled it really well.
In net for the game, Oswego goaltender Alana Yakovisi has accumulated 67 saves so far this season, but she and her teammates say it wouldn't be possible without everyone on the field.
I'm just the goalie. I make some saves, but I have a great defense. They don't let a lot of shots off. I mean, there's 2 games I played in where I didn't even see any shots because my defense was just really locked in. So, I mean, I credit most of my saves to them because they get the attack on the right position where their shots aren't great, so I can make that save. So it all comes down from, our goalie, Alana, and Ken's. We wouldn't be able to score the goals if we didn't have a great defense and a great transition through.
Going forward, the team is working on maintaining focus and doing better than last game.
I think we got our sights set on winning that title. We all want it really bad every day. Before every game, we always think who wants it more. I think we want it more. We know we want it more. So we just want to go in there with the right mindset, play with confidence, composure.
Wednesday's game against the Buffalo State Bengals poses the question, will the Lakers finally earn the opportunity to take their shot at the SUNYAC Championship, which they haven't won in over 25 years, or get taken out in the semifinals?
But, next week is kind of like a blank slate. You have to go in with a, positive mindset, but also a confident mindset where, we have to play our game and, it's playoffs, so anything can really happen.
For WTOP-10, I'm Madeline Cummings.
Thank you for that amazing story, Madeline.
Of course, of course.
But. Es ist Gummibärgentag, which means it's National Gummy Bear Day in German.
In 1922, gummy bears were invented by Hans Riegel in Germany, who's also the inventor of Haribo.
And they were originally called dancing bears because they were inspired by the trained bears seen at street festivities and markets.
And fun fact, guys, the largest gummy bear ever made was 3,809 pounds. And guys, I have a little surprise for you here today before we go off air from under the desk. I have some gummy bears for all of you.
Here, I'll pass it along. Thank
Thank you, Madeline.
Of course, of
Thank you
course.
very
Well,
much. Two.
that is our report for tonight.
Be sure to stay tuned for our regularly scheduled programming.
Thank you for watching.
Have a great night, everyone.